Robert Williams III. 20 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 blocks. Can you say stat stuffer for this guy at this point? It's unreal what he's done since March began. And over the last 3 games where he's moved into the starting lineup for the Celtics, going back to the Milwaukee series, you're seeing a whole new Robert Williams, upper echelon that he's meeting game in and game out for this team, especially on the offensive end of the floor. Just an incredible performance for Robert Williams. If you watch that first video on the Celtics and the Rockets, sees 118 to 102, and a big part the margin was that wide, was Rob's passing in the fourth. Sets up 4 straight Evan Fournier threes out of the high post action. Begins this game, catching a few alley-oops, finishing at the net, cutting off Tatum on an early post-up, as well as assisting on a few early baskets as well. And it all rounded out to be perhaps his best game as a professional so far. And he has had quite a few of those going back to March 1st. The numbers now, stepping back this last month, it's April 2nd, of course. 10 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, 3 assists per game in limited opportunity, limited minutes. Doesn't reach 30 all that often. He didn't again tonight. And we're talking about 3.1 blocks per game. So the rim protection on this team, it's no mistake. This went from being one of the worst teams in basketball protecting the rim to tonight stuffing Christian Wood, who's an all-star center, Jason Tate trying to jam his way into the rim, Daniel House, whatever the Celtics threw, Porter as well. They were getting rejected time in and time out again. And there were a few stretches of this game, particularly when Evan Fournier went on his run. The Celtics allowed 6 straight baskets to the Rockets during that stretch. There was a big array of runouts in the first half that I think required Luke Kornet to come in and give some solid contribution defensively in his own right in that second quarter. It was a nice center rotation for the Celtics on both ends of the floor tonight. But Rob shutting this game down with tough passes in that fourth, going from the high post to the corner for an Evan Fournier 3. And like I said, he was involved in pretty much every single offensive action deep into the fourth quarter of this game. Then finally it went to garbage time. So Rob, there is no doubt left that he is the starting center for this team. And I've had some gripes about some of his worst games. I don't think him playing 40 minutes is going to be swinging this team up to the upper echelon of the East. That's the only thing I push back on the Garden Report this year, is that he's the game changer here. But let's be real. He is the story of the team this year. Going from a question mark on the bench to a guy who's putting up, frankly, Nikola Jokic numbers in a game like this. Like, what other center in the NBA is putting on a passing display where they can get 8 assists in a game? It's one handful of guys, really. Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, Giannis when he plays the center position, Jokic, of course, and you could probably slate Rob in right now as arguably the 5th best passing big in this league. And he is just scratching the surface of what he can do on that end of the floor. So there are quite a few encouraging things about Rob, whether it be the vertical spacing that can diversify this team's offensive output. I talked in the first video about how they're shooting 42 threes a game now over the last week. Well, if you generate 9 shots at the rim, and it was really 10 because he went to the free throw line once in this one and hit 2 or 3, all of a sudden you're talking 43s plus 10 shots at the basket, where Rob is shooting 74% since March started. That's a nice offensive diversification for a team. Like, that's a nice portfolio, nice shot chart. So Jimmy, John, I give them credit. Celtics have needed to pass to him way more, and tonight they emphasized it. He was open quite a bit underneath, and they probably missed 2 more times that they could have fed it to him in the lane. 4 offensive rebounds in this one, a couple putbacks. A few times they left him out of position in transition, but ultimately this built such an advantage for the Celtics starters again tonight. He fits so well with Kemba Walker and Marcus Smart passing as well as they did that the Celtics were overwhelming offensively. But it started with defense too. And so you finally, for one of the few times this year, saw the Celtics become a great two-way team this year in their 118-102 win over the Rockets. Bigger test on Sunday against the Hornets, as I mentioned, 6 o'clock. Robert Williams will be starting again. But Tristan Thompson, as I mentioned in my pregame video, nearing a return. We saw him out on the court, which is turning into the ice fairly quickly here. And practicing some post-ups, taking a few corner threes. It wasn't a very long warm-up for Tristan, but they probably need him to round out this center rotation where Luke Kornet's looking okay, serviceable. Thompson can firmly be the backup here, give them a change of physicality inside, more of a bruiser. But ultimately, this is Robert Williams' team at center. That's what the Daniel Tice deadline deal solidified. And the Celtics are getting great early returns. One more point on that. One foul in 26 minutes. It's just another stride from Rob. So I know I've been tough on him. I'm tough on Rob because I see the potential. And so you're hard on those guys. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. And there's so much more growth to be seen from Rob Williams, who really, year one, redshirted. Year two was mostly hurt. And now in year three, has already made such massive strides, going from limited minutes to now being the starter of this team in a very short amount of time. So for what's been a disappointing team, that is the absolute best news that the Celtics have gotten all year. What's his upside? What's his comparison? I'm not going to do that in this video. We have plenty of time to talk about Robert Williams for the rest of the year. But let me know below, what do you think Robert Williams could ultimately be as a player in this league once he reaches his potential? And is it going to be with the Celtics, or is this guy the centerpiece of a blockbuster deal that could potentially happen this offseason or in years to come? I'm Bobby Manning. This is the Garden Report. Subscribe to CLNS Media as well as our Celtics channel, Celtics All Access. Subscribe to our Twitter account, Celtics CLNS. And, of course, subscribe to me at Real Bob Manning on Twitter, Bobby Manning on YouTube. The pastor comes first. The second one is me. And we will see you here on Sunday for a 6 o'clock tip-off. Make sure you catch the Celtics post-game show and all the Garden Reports that we did after the game tonight. See you on Sunday.